900 AM, 96.1 FM if you're in the area. Now, if you're not, have no fear. You can still tune in. Tons of ways that you can tune in. You can download the app in the App Store. Look for WURD, Word. That's the word. That's my word, son. You can check us out as well at wordradio.com, or you can go to social media. Check us out on YouTube Live. My personal favorite, of course, is Facebook Live, where we get a bunch of, get a bunch of stuff. Bunch of comments, questions, sometimes some attitude, personal attacks. I mean, it's Facebook Live, but it's pretty cool because it's like really right there in the moment. So listen, folks, I want you to be a part of this conversation. Sitting across from me, normally at this time, we'll be here in a few moments, is Bishop Dwayne David Royster, who, while a student in Boston, would often go to Duncan. Hope I'm getting that right, Boston people. But he's Philly's own, from Mount Airy. And holding it down for us, as always, is the incomparable Kawesa.
Good
What's up,
morning.
Kawesa?
What's up? How are you?
It's all good. Uh-oh, wait. I see him. He just got back in from Duncan.
I don't know about all that, but
He had to run to Boston to go to Duncan this morning. What's up, bro?
not much, man. How you making out? How you making out?
I'm going to take one of your lines. Man, I'm just trying to be a black man in America.
That's a hard job. That's a hard job any day of the week. Any day you try to put that together. And wait a minute, if you try to be a black man in America in the age past Trump, it's even more complicated.
Well, I'm sure black women would tell us, like, hey,
Yeah.
hold my beer. You want to know what bad looks like.
Voice is probably sitting there like, you all just don't know. You just don't know.
So for black women, it's like, you're Danielle Outlaw. 4 people are, cited in a report for doing something wrong. 3 white guys, you're the black woman, and the only person the newspaper says should resign is you.
Yeah.
That's been a black woman in America. That sums it up right there.
That is. That really does. That really does. That is the black woman's experience. I was looking at that, reading the articles about what was happening with Commissioner Outlaw, and I was like, wow. There are a couple of things that she said, and I disagree with. One of the things she said was Philadelphia's never had to deal with this. I'm like, actually, Commissioner Ramsey dealt with this a great deal after Ferguson. There were a lot of unrest and a lot of uprisings that occurred, and he did not respond in the same way by any means. So I'm like, I don't know, but I'm hesitant to make the comparison because by the time he had come to Philadelphia, he had been the commissioner of 3 major police departments, had been multiple decades in policing and multiple decades as a commissioner before he got into the city. And I mean, let's be honest, as a black woman, she has more challenges in front of her, being the first black woman ahead of a police department that we know is racist as hell. So, I can only imagine what she's experiencing. I know folk are like, oh, get rid of her, do this, do that. I just think that there's not equity in how she's being treated, both in the media and how she's being treated inside her own department, let alone, trying to deal with all the challenges that come with being commissioner of Philadelphia.
Yeah, I would say, I think the comments yesterday, she speaks for herself. I think what she meant was tying it into the fact that this was all during a pandemic.
Right.
That the protests, the uprising, everything was also in the context of, unprecedented experiences of people being locked down at that point for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And that certainly added to everything. Will Mega says she's in over her head and Mayor Kenny is horrible. Yeah, listen. So I don't know. Obviously we are huge critics of Philadelphia police. We hold nothing back there. I do think, however, that a person needs to have an opportunity to prove whether or not they can do the job or not. And what did not help is that Brian Abernathy was between her and the mayor. Now, Brian is gone, and thankfully.
Hmm.
I mean, I remember having to argue him down just as a parent about closing the schools down
Right.
and the comments that he made about COVID, not taking it serious. And, so I can only imagine his reaction when it came to this. He was the kind of managing director that when you have a mayor like Kenny, it just compounds things. And
Right.
so if he was in the mix, now we don't know because Brian resigned and he's out of here.
Hmm.
And so he is wherever you go when you leave as managing director. And so it's interesting. It would be interesting to know as well. But his role. But again, this I come back to this each and every day, right? That this is why you need strong civilian,
Oversight.
independent police oversight, not just simply to do things like do the investigations after things like this happen, but ultimately, so for example, in Oakland and San Francisco, their new model is that their police oversight commission is the commission that hires and fires the police commissioner.
Right.
And in other places, people are seeking for these departments, these commissions, independent boards to have complete authority over all hiring and discipline and firing, also to have control over policy and directives, and ultimately to oversee budgets. Now,
Hmm.
people will tell you in the department, well, yeah, but civilians can't do the job. You can't be over us. Excuse me, civilians are already over you,
That's right. The
the
mayor.
mayor and
That's right.
city council. So I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's the exact same thing. We're saying we want a different group of civilians. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think policing, it's sort of like the military. Even the military has civilian authority, which is part of the reason why our current Secretary of Defense had trouble getting, into the role because they had to actually do a waiver for him because he'd only been retired from the military for 4 years. We need to have civilian control, and there needs to be an accountability. There has to be levels of accountability at all places in government, including in the employee structure, and there needs to be civil oversight. As a matter of fact, I was really thinking yesterday as we were reading the reports about Philly fighting COVID and all the craziness going on there, we might need some civilian oversight at the Department of Health in terms of their contracting. That we don't allow this shenanigans to happen again. So, I mean, police think that they're special. I mean, I think that they're human beings and they're citizens. Well, hopefully, they're citizens of Philadelphia. Some of them are, some of them aren't. But they think they're special and they should be above the law. Nobody's above the law. Everybody's accountable to the law. It's the way the law is set up to be run. So I think there should be civilian oversight, and I think that again there has to be accountability at every level. And I think the way you have accountability for the Police Oversight Commission is that they're elected by the citizens. And that way they have accountability back to the citizens of the various communities to which they belong and they're elected from to make sure that they were doing a good job around policing.
I mean, listen, and to add to that, I'm looking at the comments. So, folks, let's just be clear. The commissioner's like your pastor. Nobody likes them until they're gone. They're never good enough. I mean, I'm looking at the comments. Tell me who was out here like, caping for Rich Ross. Nobody.
Nobody.
Everybody's like, man, Ross is hard to deal with. Oh man, Ross, then Ross leaves. It's like, man, Ross was a great commissioner. Ramsey. Oh, Ramsey is terrible, man. He just a sellout. He just this. Ramsey leaves. It's like, man, we had a good commissioner, Ramsey. You didn't like Ramsey when he was commissioner. You didn't like Ross. So come on, give me a break with the she's in over her head. She can't, she's only there because we wanted a black woman. I was also part of that call who said that black women deserve a shot as well. Yeah. Mostly white guys have been screwing it up. Gave it to some black guys, they screwed it up. So if it gets screwed up, I mean, there's something systemically wrong. That's the problem. And a
Yeah.
part of it is that they don't have anybody that will tighten the rein and hold them accountable before these things happen and get in there and help make some real changes because the political system is the way that it is. So that's what you have to address. I mean, what we tried is letting mayors and city councils, do the leading, and that doesn't work. So come on, give me a break with that. Y'all
Right.
haven't like you may have liked Sylvester Johnson. I don't know. I was like just coming to the area when he was here. So I
Well,
don't know. Maybe.
I think a lot of folk did like Sylvester Johnson actually because Sylvester Johnson, I mean, even Richard Ross. I mean, Ross was a Philadelphian, but Johnson, there was something different about him. He was like, he was cool, and but he didn't last in that job very long though. He was cool, but he didn't last very long.
Right. Like so I'm just saying, man, people are hilarious. It's like, man, I literally have some members. I won't even call the name of the church. I have pastored 7 churches over my career. So, your early churches, you're not there long. I've been here now 13 years.
Right.
But like at one church that will remain anonymous, they gave me the most grief and the most hell. One of the people who was the ringleader, every time I see them now at like AME meetings, they grab me by the arm and take me to their friends and introduce me as, this was our best pastor ever. I'm like, are you kidding me? you, 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 you all wanted to tar me up and feather me for trying to change things, and now I'm your best. That's just what people are. All I say is this, that we need to, this is bigger than Danielle Outlaw, and it is a double standard. So yes, we'll make it. It could be that she's over her head, and it's wrong how they're treating her.
Well,
but again, yeah.
I mean, this poses a whole challenge, and for women in policing and women in a whole series of jobs, especially Black women, where they're not oftentimes able to be mentored and developed in ways that men are because they're not allowed in those all-boys spaces and not appreciated. I mean, it's twice as hard for women to move up in places like the military, in like paramilitary organizations like police forces, in all-boys club type jobs. And so, I'm not saying that we don't have to hold our commissioners to a standard, but I do think we have to be realistic about the ways that there's toxic masculinity and sexism that manifests itself in these places that does not give a person like Danielle Outlaw or other women who serve as police commissioners the chance to really be mentored and developed by a series of folk in deep intentional ways because of gender and the challenges that come with cross-gender business relationships and things of that nature. I don't know her. I have not ever met Commissioner Outlaw personally, other than being at one event with her, with the Greek organizations did during after the killing of George Wallace. But I haven't talked to her yet. But what I am aware of, and I'm very in tune to, in much the same way that Black men have been blocked in a lot of businesses and haven't been mentored and trained by white males, or white women for that matter, in the work environments that they've been in, Black women especially. They haven't been trained by Black men. They haven't been supported and mentored by Black men, white women, or anybody else for that matter. So the fact that they get to a certain place, and are able to be even considered to be qualified, I think is a reason for us to be able to support her and to say, okay, there's some things you've got to learn here. There's some things you have to grow through in this moment. If you stick it out, you will grow and become a better commissioner as a result of it. She's right. It was a pandemic. It was in the middle of an uprising. She has not led a police force of this size. And so she has to learn some things. And, and I think, do her junior officers make some fatal errors? Absolutely. But you know what? There were fatal errors made under commissioners that we have had in previous years. And, doggone it, we put a freaking icon up to one that was sitting in front of municipal service buildings. He used to beat the hell out of Black people. So and then we allowed that to happen in the city of Philadelphia. So I think if we're going to have to point fingers, and we have to hold her accountable for what she did, but at the same time, we have to give her space and grace to be able to grow into the freaking job, because if it was a white man, we'd give him the same opportunity. Then we need to be able to give her that opportunity right now.
Well, you know what it would have been if it was a white guy. It's exactly what it is right now. So the report is very clear that it says that, the fault is also with the fire commissioner, because he was the director of Office of Emergency Management. Yes. And did not take it serious, or viewed his role in a very narrow way as opposed to the previous person. And they also said the fault is with the mayor. Yep. But again, so the Inquirer yesterday, they post their opinion from the editorial board, which is she should resign. Yep. Not the other two. So the report does not lay all the, look, I'm the co-chair of the council that kind of was the citizens who kind of oversaw this process by Rebecca Reinhardt. So I've known about this report for some time and kind of watched it develop.
Yeah.
And so the report has always been clear that it's been multiple failures by multiple leaders, and yet the Inquirer only asks for the resignation of one person. Now, if they ask for the resignation of all three, I'm good with it. I'm like, okay, that's fair.
Right.
That's totally fair. And the trouble is that, you know, and I hear all the comments, I see it all on social. Yes, I get it. But, you know, there is a larger overarching problem that's happening right here that we're trying to bring up. And that is the double standard by the way in which we are dealt with in these kind of moments.
That's
that
right.
If the report says that the subordinate did wrong with the approval of the person who is the superior and only calls for the resignation of the subordinate, then you missed the point.
That's right.
Tear gas was used twice, and not just on one day, but used on 2 days. If he had a problem with it, he would have made sure that it was never used again.
That's right.
But he permitted it, and he's allowed to stay and live out his last 3 years in office? Come on, man, that's hypocritical. You can't have it both ways. So we know what it would look like if she was a white guy. Right now, they wouldn't be called for the resignation of any of the three of them. They'd find the black guy who was somewhere in that chain of command who carried the canister of tear gas somewhere. Said, that's the guy.
No, they
shouldn't have carried it.
They would have got the guy in the armament shop that actually issued it in the first place. That's who they would have fired. He doesn't even go out on the street. He just issues the equipment out. They would have fired the equipment manager. That's what they would have done.
That's America, bro. They would
have found a black person in the chain somewhere and been like, oh, we're going to fire them.
Say, excuse me, what do you do here? I answer the phones. Yep, it was him. Because if he had not answered the phone, the call couldn't have gone out. We say he must resign. We're not making, it's funny, but we're not making this up.
No,
we're not.
It's actually sad.
And Sheriff Rochelle Bilal threw her thoughts in. And she says, I'm going to paraphrase Rochelle. I hope that's okay because I can't find it on my there's too many comments this morning. You guys are like having a time at it. But essentially, she says they bring in black women to lead when things are just a complete mess. Absolutely. You want to talk about the experiences of the church and the glass ceiling? My friends who are women who have pastored like our lead churches typically don't get those opportunities until some guy has screwed it up so bad that no other guy wants to go there. And then the woman gets the promotion to the quote unquote -- church. That's systemically, that's throughout the entire denomination and most denominations. And that's a problem. I mean, it's misogyny and it's white supremacy on top of that. When you put those two together, that is never a good mix. And it's too early in the morning to be talking about this stuff. It's 6. We come back and talk.
Quality roofing experience, providing exceptional customer service, honesty, and professionalism. Clark Roofing is a second-generation master roofer, installing top-quality roofing systems for commercial and residential properties across the tri-state area. For fast, dependable service, call 215-365-ROOF. That's 215-365-7663.
You know that feeling? Like every door is closing and you just can't see a way out? Being unemployed, underemployed, or just out of school can feel like that. But when you find the right tools, suddenly everything just clicks. FindSomethingNew.org offers resources that help develop new skills. Skills that can position you for careers in today's growing industries, from healthcare and manufacturing to cybersecurity and alternative energy. Find your path to a new career at FindSomethingNew.org. A message from the Ad Council.
Listen to Laborers Live.
We created the weekend. We created the 40-hour work week. We just want enough to feed our family, be able to send our children to college, and let our next generation do better than we did.
To people that might have forgot how important unionism is in a country like the United States. People now infringing on our 8-hour workday, trying to work people more than 8 hours without overtime, trying to work people without benefits. In the long run, everybody's getting a fat paycheck except the worker. So this is really a wake-up call for America.
The struggle is continuous. Tune in to Laborers Live every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. Sponsored by LESIT, the Laborers Employers Cooperation Education Trust of the Laborers District Council of Philadelphia and vicinity.
Local 332, Sam Staten Jr. Business Manager. Local 57, Esteban Vera Business Manager. Local 135, Dan Woodall Jr. Business Manager. Local 413, James Harper Jr. Business Manager. The Laborers District Council, Ryan Boyer Business Manager, and Tony Staten, Executive Director of LESIT.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler. We're here Monday through Fridays from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinions about all of that stuff and more. And, of course, many of you are weighing in with your opinions this morning on Facebook. That Facebook feed is fire. It is like lighting up every few seconds. It's just several comments coming in there, and so we appreciate everything that you are saying.
No. We don't appreciate everything they're saying.
Well, I appreciate them communicating. You know, we might not.
Well, you can say that then. We appreciate you actually, but we do not. Like, I don't appreciate. No, there's some things I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I don't appreciate everything that I'm seeing today.
Let me just say this. Black women have been holding it down for black men for hundreds of years in this country. And the least we could do in this moment, when our sisters are finally starting to come into positions of power, is hold it down for them and hold space for them to make mistakes and to grow in these roles that have been denied to them for so long. So I just had to say that. I know we want to talk about Cecily Grayson, but I had to say that because I'm like, yo. Like, why is black women have been holding down black men for ages in the black church, in the black community, and all kinds of stuff. They've been holding jobs, still taking care of houses, raising kids, doing all this stuff. Can we hold it down for our sisters that are out here working hard for it right now? That's all I'm saying.
Bro, I'm sitting up and listen. Look, all right, here's a comment I don't appreciate. Raphael, some of the churches have female pastors. Many of the evangelical churches don't. Neither do the Catholics. So that analogy doesn't apply to everyone. I mean, bro, the point is whether these are denominations that allow women to preach and to pastor or not, there is still this treatment. So it's even worse than in places where they say that you can't preach, but you can pay for the church. I mean, so yes, it does apply. And Will Mega, bruh, I gotta ask you, man. Like, you know, you want the phone lines open. I don't think you really want us to open them today. Because that last comment, let's be honest, in the era of, quote, the black woman can do no wrong, end quote, it's taboo to constructively criticize any black woman in any position of power. Let's agree that all of them need to go, but that still wouldn't exclude her. Come on, man. Come on, man. I mean, Tawanda, thank you for your reply. White supremacist informed misogyny is a hell of a drug. And until folks stop getting high and get to work, we won't never be done.
I'm like, wow, this is why this is why the black community can't move forward, right? Because we can't find ways to support each other. We think the support only goes in one direction, support the black man. How about we support black girls? How about we support black women? How about we support black seniors, black female seniors? Can we find a way to support all of our folk and like move out of this white, like you said, white supremacist sexist model of what it looks like to be community and really find our ways back to each other where we are mutually uplifting, supporting, encouraging, nurturing, strengthening, developing, empowering one another in the work, right? I'm so sick of this. I mean, you know, you and I, we've talked, you know, we have our conversations offline. A lot of people don't realize actually a lot of our conversations that we have sound just like this when we're on the phone together. And that, you know, we have, I mean, in 1992, I was the associate pastor at a church here in Philadelphia. It was a big United Methodist church, big black United Methodist church. They had their first woman pastor. And I'll never forget the hell that she took for the 4.5 years that we were there together. Now, I was all of 22 years old. She was in her mid-40s, had been pastoring for decades. And I'll never forget people who would walk up to me as a 22, 23, 24-year-old and tell me I should be the pastor, not her, just because she was a woman, right? And the people that then told me I was going to go to hell because I was out of order because I was serving under the leadership of a woman. Why? That's crazy. Okay, that's just crazy. If somebody is trained, developed, has the gifts and talents to be able to do a job, and they bring their gender to the table, we should be able to receive that. I don't want to do the thing like people are like, oh, we shouldn't see gender or we shouldn't see color. No, we should see gender, and we should also understand that different genders bring different things to the table, and that everything that they bring to the table, we exactly need for the various jobs that we do. I'm not going to say I don't see people's color. No, I see color everywhere, and it is beautiful in God's sight. We all have been created to be different races, different ethnicities, different communities, even different religions. And we all bring different things to the table so that all of us are able to partake of a cornucopia of delight of God's creation. But instead of being able to celebrate the differences, we come to the table and say, well, because they're different than me, they're not equal, they're not worthy of being recognized, they're not worthy of being respected. Because they come with a different language or a different faith or a different economic level, or they come with a different shape or a different body type, they're not worthy of being recognized. Can we stop with the crap, people, and get to the place that we can recognize one another, see each other, recognize the difference, celebrate the differences, encourage and build one another up? That's when the Black community is going to be able to survive. But as long as we keep this crap up over and over again about the fact that we can't have Black women do this and Black men have to do that, and we have to put Black women back in the house, and they need to do this, and they need to serve their man, that's a bunch of crap. Men should be serving their women. We should be protecting our sisters and protecting them when they have these senior roles that are out there, that they're trying to do the best that they can in their jobs. We should support them every way possible. All right, y'all got me going.
Y'all got the man. Now he's normally like the reserved one on this show. See how upset you got him? Huh? Man, get some Gatorade over there.
That really hurts me, man. That just hurts me.
Well, it does. I mean, and it should. I mean, listen, I'm looking at these comments, for example, about, well, it should be about competence. I mean, bro, protect your own, okay? Protect your own. That's what the man just said. Yeah, okay, you know what? It is about competence. And I am not saying that she does not have fault. She has said repeatedly, including yesterday, that she said, yes, we screwed up on some stuff, and that's on me. She said, yeah. In fact, that's much more than Richard Ross would say. I was in the town hall with him. No offense, Mr. Ross. But you did say in a public meeting, white supremacy is not a problem in the Philadelphia Police Department, in a public town hall meeting that we hosted, to which the room exploded and went crazy to hear a Black man from Philly say that. I never heard him apologize for anything. And so she's apologized repeatedly, but that's not enough, right? And so in this moment, what we're saying is that while the use of tear gas and the deplorable way in which the police acted, and mind you, I was interviewed for this because I was tear gassed.
That's right.
You know, I've been roughed up by Philly cops with their bicycles, with the nice little bikes. I got the scars on my leg to prove it from marches. Not last year, I'm talking about like previous years. But there is a bigger issue here. And the issue is, do we allow them to misuse us in this way and not stand up for each other?
Right.
I mean, I can't, look, I'm upset because I can't even be critical of her about the report because of this crap.
That's right.
But I can't sit back, you know, A, that's my homegirl. She's from Oakland. But secondly, and more importantly, that how are we going to stand up together as a community, and you allow this to happen, and then she gets tossed out and they bring in some, you know, I don't know, some white guy from South Philly or Northeast, like they wanted to do from the beginning.
That's right.
I mean, seriously, you guys have got, I mean, I hear you. Yes. All of what you say, but there is a bigger issue. I mean, it's the same, it's tied to what happened in California when Gavin Newsom gets an opportunity to fill Vice President Harris's seat in the U.S. Senate that she won.
That's right.
Do you know how hard it is to win as a U.S. Senator? She's the first Black senator in California's history. And what does he do? Gives it to a guy who's Mexican-American, but the Mexican-American community has never elected their own senator to that spot.
Yep.
And nobody, and so, you know, so we continue to get thrown under the bus and won't stand up for each other. But then Black men, we want Black women to be there for us, i.e. the civil rights movement. I just finished teaching a class all this week on change, transformational change. And we talked about the fact that here in 1963, March on Washington, please give me the list of prominent black civil rights workers who were women who spoke at the March on Washington. Was it Septima Clark? No. Was it Fannie Lou Hamer? No. Was it Prathia Hall? No. Was it Rosa Parks? No. Was it Amelia Boynton Robinson? No. Why not? You know, where was like Bayard Rustin, the queer guy who actually did all the planning for the March on Washington?
Right.
No, because what we have done is we have taken a model from white men and said the only thing wrong with it is we can't participate.
Well, we do to black women what white people do to us.
Dude, that's my point. I'm saying, and Audre Lorde said what? That you cannot dismantle the master's house using the master's tools. You can't. And if all we're going to do is, if our critique of white supremacy is the only thing wrong with it is y'all don't let us play, that is to miss the whole point.
That's right.
That table is wrong to begin with. And it is not reflective of the world as God created it. That's the whole thing with GameStop right now. They're like the little guy trying to take on the big guy. What does the big guy do? Change the rules in the middle. Like, oh, nope, you can't trade here. Well, you can't do that. Yes, we can. Do we want to, is that what we want? I thought we wanted something different. Oh my God. Man, y'all got both our pressure up today.
I didn't take my pills yet.
Joe Simmons, thank God for Joe. Joe said he got the Stockholm syndrome. He said we got to stand up. Yeah, that is, and Robert Garland, you're absolutely right. That's that 50 Cent Ice Cube stuff. You know, oh boy. So Cicely Tyson, what a career. Can you imagine what she went through? She was 96 years old.
Oh man.
That means she was born in the 1920s. Can you imagine if this is the stuff we're doing to black women today who are out front leading?
That's right.
What did Cicely Tyson have to go through just to become Miss Jane Pittman?
Oh, well.
Yeah, Dorothy Height wasn't there either. Hey, check this, man. All right, let's bring the temperature down. Post in the thread your favorite Cicely Tyson movie. But I got to tell you, so I met her 8 years ago.
Okay. Oh, wow.
On our way to Barack Obama's second inauguration to the inaugural ball. We got hooked up with some tickets. So Leslie and I show up in D.C. at a friend's house. I won't call the friend's name out, but our friend had the tickets for us. And so this friend is super connected, but so down to earth that you would think like she don't know anybody. She's always like building you up, you know, like, what's up, great leader? You know, and so we get to the house, cool little DC row home, not, you know what I mean? Like, you know, and
cool little DC row home will cost you $1 million. But anyway,
but this is like the black community DC. So you're right. It's still, yeah, trust me, whatever she paid for it now is probably like worth like 100 times what it was when she bought it.
Right.
But bro, so we walk in and it's like only 2 other people in the room. And it's like this guy who's there, like, I guess driving or escorting Cicely Tyson, and it's Cicely Tyson and us. I was like, oh crap, that's Cicely Tyson, Leslie. That's Miss Jane Pittman.
Oh, wow.
And let me just say, she was 88 at that time. I'll just simply say she was still pretty feisty.
Let me guess, she must be AME too, right?
I didn't say she was AME. I said she was kind of feisty. Let's just say Leslie had to put her arm on my arm. Like, all right, let's get out of here.
Well, you know, gotta appreciate the older sisters that just lay it out what they want. they don't bite their tongues.
She was feisty. She was beautiful.
She saw what she liked walk in the room. Go ahead with your bad self, Reverend.
No, bro. Let me tell you, man. I mean, really, rest in power, Cicely Tyson. Yeah, look at Leslie. Leslie said, yes, She was feisty. LOL. We walked out of the room. I was like, did that just happen?
Wow, that's cool though. That's cool, man. You know, you still got it. You could have been You could have been a Hollywood husband.
Hey, and listen, this is kind of like right before.
No disrespect, Leslie. No disrespect.
No, Leslie wasn't having that, bro. She said, okay, playtime is over. Yeah, she was. But imagine, though, I mean, seriously, though. I mean, her career, when you think about when she did what she did, the kind of barriers that she had to face and to overcome. And I mean, listen, Cicely Tyson looks more like our ancestors when they came to this shore, before a lot of miscegenation, before a lot of intermarrying. So she was not the type. She was not, she was not Lena Horne. Where you look at Lena Horne, it's like, people like this, Cicely Tyson was beautiful, but not by Western standards.
Right.
And so for her to have had the kind of career that she had, in spite of that as well, when all the people in Hollywood who are doing the casting are the people, who get to define what beauty is.
Right.
And so, and she made her later years, she did a lot of work with Tyler Perry, right?
Yeah, she did. I was going to say something about that, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that on the other side, but I'll just simply say, this is why, Tyler, man, he's like, I don't really care for his stuff, but I give him credit for this, that he has made sure that a ton of Black folk are working and getting paid. And so it's like, you want to knock him, but then it's like, man, you show such respect and reverence to the Queen and to folk like that, and show the appreciation of their value. So look, let's take a break, and we come back. We'll finish out the show on today. I can't believe we're like more than halfway done. And Facebook Live people, try to ignore what you're seeing in there. I hope y'all I wish we could like.
No, your wife did say she would fight a 90-year-old woman. I just want to note that.
Yeah, she would. I saw it almost happen. I got tons of stories, man. There's the time we met Maya Angelou, hanging out with Freddie Jackson.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And Gayle King, and Ashford and Simpson.
Oh, man.
And the director of The Wiz, the choreographer of the original Wiz, all in the same room. That's a shocker when you're not expecting to see it.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, we'll be right back on the other side of the break.
WURD Radio is independent Black media. And we're able to stay independent because of our forward movement and members like you.
Treat yourself to the treat of buying a WURD membership. It's less than a quarter a day. That's less than a bag of chips. And we really, truly need to keep this platform going so that we can stay connected as we reimagine our community in 2021.
Start or renew your forward membership today at wordradio.com/forward or call 215-425-7875. WURD Radio. Independent Black media.
Enterprise Exterminators, located 4943 Wayne Avenue, specializing in lantern flies, termites, bed bugs, fleas, mice, and roaches. Do-it-yourself kits are available. Call now, 215-849-7070.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on wordradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on wordradio.com. Show the world that you're all about Black. Talk media. Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Staples Stores. Volume getting busy on the Schuylkill Expressway now eastbound. You're jamming, approaching Gladwin, a Belmont accident there now being worked on westbound side Belize University through Vine, through the ongoing construction there. Westbound Vine Lake Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95 Cotman and Bridge and volume there building through construction. Northbound looks pretty good. Looking at 42, 55, 295 in New Jersey. Not too bad as of yet. Staples helps you get back to business this year with custom printed signs. Now get 25% off custom flyers, brochures, postcards, or labels when you spend $75 or more. And 227 exclusions apply. Limit one offer per customer. See store or staples.com/custom prints for details. Staples. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
very windy and very cold today. Sunshine and a high of 28 degrees, but the winds gusting to 40 miles an hour make it feel like it's in the mid-teens at the warmest. Cold tonight, down into the teens for Philadelphia, low of 16 degrees. Sunshine, less wind for Saturday, a high of 33. Clouds are back Sunday with a chance of late-day snow and a high of 31. I'm NBC 10 First Alert Meteorologist Bill Henley with your most accurate forecast. Count on it.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler, bringing you all of our opinions this morning about a whole bunch of issues. We are talking about our queen, though, that just passed at the very rich age of, in her 90s, Cicely Tyson, actress. She was on Broadway. She was in the movies. She was on television. She continued to bless us with her presence. And we are grateful for her life and all of the work that she did. Let me just say that her work, in fact, was a ministry. And it encouraged us in our deepest, darkest days. She told the stories of our struggle and also our ability to overcome. And so thank you, Cicely Tyson, for everything that you have done.
And by the way, in spite of that beautiful career of hers, she didn't receive an Academy Award, the Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I guess that doesn't, I'm going to Will's point here, it should be about merits, apparently. I guess she didn't deserve one. Or did that have something to do with, I don't know, a little thing called white supremacy? I mean, look, bro. I mean, that her life alone is like a kind of an example of all of these things that we're talking about. And when you think about her body of work and so many incredible, African-American actors and actresses who have, just done incredible, things on screen, behind the camera, choreography, music, all types of things. You have to be absolutely perfect, and everyone else has to be just trash in order to get recognized. Or like Denzel, you got to be thugged out or a slave.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you don't get it from Malcolm, though that role is so scary. When I see Malcolm today, I still say, why isn't that Denzel? He just, but no, you don't get an award for that. You get an award for Training Day.
Yes.
You turn a white cop out on drugs and you're dirty.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? This is what I'm saying. This is, the insidious ways in which all of this works throughout everything. And I'm certain, I wish we could have had a chance to interview her, because I'm sure, an hour or two with her would have brought a lot of this to light. And so, again, shout out to the Queen on today. And by the way, I'm just tripping off the fact that, man, she was married at one point to Miles Davis and also to Billy D. Williams. Oh, the stories. Those about power couples.
Yeah.
Man, her and Miles Davis walk in the room. Come on, bro. Her and Billy D walk in the room. They was shutting some stuff down. People didn't know who to fawn over first.
That's right. Well, they were probably fawning over her, I'm sure.
The big old smile, Harlem's own Cicely Tyson, 96 years old, and still somehow seems like she's gone too soon. All right, hey, listen, so I know we're coming up on the end of the show today. Can you please explain to me? I understand the stock market, but I honestly, maybe it's because I missed this cycle of the news this week because I was teaching all week. One of my students brought up yesterday, but I'm having a hard time understanding what's going on with GameStop. And apparently everybody's saying this is going to change the game. Put it in layman's terms, bring it down low so we can get it.
All right. So this is what I understand about it. So there's a social media site called Reddit. And it's you don't post pictures and stuff in there. It's actually more of a discussion forum for a variety of issues. I'm on it for a bunch of different things. So some of the books that I read, I follow this thing called Lit RPG, which is literature around role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that. And so you go in there, and it's like people who are really intense about what they do. So there is a read it, and I actually don't have the thing pulled up in front of me right now, that was really watching the stock market, right? Watching Wall Street, basically, is what it was. And so these are, a lot of them are young folk, the 20s, some of the college students, who, were frustrated by watching what was happening on Wall Street. So they decided that they were going to game the system a little bit. And they started, GameStop was struggling. As you can imagine, a lot of these students are, going to play video games, things like that. GameStop was a spot you went to go pick up your video games. You went to go pick up consoles. You could pick up controllers, and it was a store that was nothing but video games. So they started closing stores during the holiday season. They were about ready to go out of business. They were losing a lot of money. And, there was speculation on Wall Street that it was going to crash. So there were all these speculators that were buying it to, basically watch it drop so that they can make a whole bunch of money on it. Anyway, this folks decided they were going to game the system and started encouraging people to buy GameStop. So GameStop went from selling for about $5 to about $300 a share.
Whoa. Wait. Did you buy some?
No, I found out about this after the fact.
Oh, crap. $5 to $300?
Yeah, yesterday it was, yesterday at its high, it went to $489 a share. So I was looking it up yesterday because I was like, wait a minute, how much money are they making right now on this? As a matter of fact, I'm going to go to my site at this moment. And
well, I can tell you what it's going for right now, $193.
Okay, yeah, so it dropped a lot. But yesterday at its highest, it was at $489 a share or something like that. It was some ridiculous number that it had gotten to. So what happened? I mean, they're playing the system, right? And they're watching what's going on. Actually, right now, GameStop is selling for $381 a share. So it's 50 low.
Good God.
So in the last year, the lowest GameStop was selling for was $2.57. And then the highest, which occurred this week, was $483. Yesterday's high was $482.85. So, there was this, people were buying GameStop, and there are actually trading firms and venture capital firms that are actually about to lose their shirts because of the way they played this game with GameStop. And it's all because a bunch of young people are like, we like GameStop and we're going to make this work. So it's actually interesting right now that folk are basically saying, just hold on because this is going to be really volatile for a while. And the other thing is that the same Read It thread is actually wanting to do the same thing with AMC movie theaters.
Well, all right. So wait a minute. So here's the part that got me, the part that I do understand. Okay. So the big guys, the big clearinghouses, E-Trade, the folk that you see all the big commercials, right? Robinhood, all these people basically put a freeze then and won't let people trade to keep driving the stock prices up.
That's correct.
Now, and so of course Robinhood is catching all kind of flack for that because they came on allegedly being for the little guy, hence Robinhood, take from the rich, give to the poor. Right. But apparently in this case, they'd rather take from the poor to give to the rich.
Yeah, actually, so I have Robinhood. That's what I'm on right now. And actually they opened up some limited trading of those securities. Limited, you can't do new things, but you can buy, you can trade your old stuff. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? So young folk were gaming the system to make it work for them. And I mean, so there were folk that bought, GameStop at $8 that are now, have $100,000 in stock, because they bought a few shares at $8 a share. And they're making, huge monies, but these big corporations are losing their shirts over this right now. I mean, there was one person that lost like $1.5 billion over GameStop. And this is part of what happens when you democratize capital and democratize Wall Street. When little people use what vehicles are free. Read It's free. You can get on there for free. Anybody can create a thread on there for free. If you get on there, you start gathering people of like minds. You all come up with a plan and you execute. It's actually very intriguing. Now all the big trading firms and everything are calling for an SEC investigation, and they want to shut this thing down. Why? Because the system that they created to work for them, other folk figured out how to make it work for them. And, these young folk figured out how to make this system work for them, and they can make money.
Oh, man. All right. So we need to do that with like one of these cruise lines that are tanking right now. We should get a bunch of our friends, drive the stock up, cash out, and then all go retire. People have made like a ton of money then apparently who got in this early, but I like the fact that they're shifting the game. Hey, listen, before we go, let me just say this comment about social media and the thread. So I see the back and forth of Will and Joe. Personally, I think you all have crossed the line. You start talking about like, where you live kind of stuff. We don't want to have to block anybody. So let me just simply say that our thread is a place for peaceful exchange of ideas, intense, peaceful exchange. But even the hint or suggestion, and I know nobody said it, but look, we're all grown folk. We know it. When you start going to that level, if that's the kind of interaction we're going to have, folk are going to get blocked because we're just not going to have that here. That's not what this space is for. This is a space for black folk to come together, and white folk, and anybody else who wants to be in this conversation. And but we cannot, under any circumstance, tolerate that, because that's just not how we roll. So, quote unquote, internet gangsters, or quote unquote, come see me, take all that stuff on your own pages. And y'all have a good weekend. And let's go watch a Cecily Tyson movie this weekend.
That's right. Go see Miss Jane Pitchman or Sounder. So thank you, everybody, for joining us here. We are out. Koisa, thank you for holding down the boards and keeping everything straight and moving for us. Thank you, Dr. Tyler, for everything you do. Everybody, just check us out on Facebook and on YouTube. Shout out to all the YouTube people out there. Nikki Otim said Sounder was their favorite movie. Somebody said we were sermonizing today. Anyway, appreciate all y'all that are out there on YouTube and all the other.
They didn't hear us sermonize because I didn't play the organ. I got this thing. It's called hoop triggers. When you were going in, I could be like, no.
Koisa was like, play the organ. So appreciate all of you, everybody. We'll be back on Monday morning at 6 a.m. to bring you the latest news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinion. Stay tuned for Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. And do us a favor, family. Go out there, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will.
Say yeah.
That's when